Are we good? All right. I will call this workshop to order on what is today, Thursday, October the 19th, and it is 2:04 p.m. We have a quorum present of all commissioners. Is there any public comments? You can bring them up during time of discussion. We have 3 items to discuss. This is all related to our P25 radio system, and we will move right into item number 3, discuss the maintenance service contract agreement for the P25 radio system. So it's turning it over to you,
Gentlemen, I put 3 different items on here just to make sure we had every topic we discussed covered. Last time I only had 1 topic and it went into 3 others. I just want to make sure we stay on par with what we're meeting about. I feel like all 3 of these topics will wind up running together. So I kind of approach it in that aspect. And you all have before you have the spreadsheet that I sent out. Y'all requested information on how we could reduce the maintenance service agreement recurring costs over the 12 years. So I furnished with 3 different options. Each get the cost down below $200,000. One would be buy no radio for anyone other than Zandt County. The next would be to buy for Zandt County and the volunteer fire departments that don't have ESD supporting them. And the third would be to buy for Zandt County and the VFDs that receive no form of tax dollars, that run strictly on donations. As you can see, the last one is the one that reduces our maintenance service cost the lowest. So if we buy just the radios we got set up for Zandt County, and for the volunteer fire departments that contract to Zandt County to provide service in the rural areas and have nothing but donations to run on, our maintenance service agreement would be reduced to a maximum of $174,741.63. If you throw in the fire departments that have city support but not ESD support, it goes to $189,113.67 annually. And if you buy nothing but Zandt counties, it goes down to $135,241 away. Personally, I believe we need to buy for the county. We need to buy for the fire departments that live solely on donations. The cost of these radios, their best fundraiser won't give them 2 radios, and then they won't have nothing to operate them. And since we do contract with them for this service, for that $600 a month, I feel like we should buy those for them as well as for the county, and that will allow us to reduce our recurring costs on the service to $174,741.63, which I believe the county should be able to absorb for.
Why does the service contract go down, from the 442 to the, say, the 189, depending on how many radios we buy? Why would that matter?
It's not. So what we've done to reduce that price was we will buy down the maintenance service contract ahead of time. To buy down the maintenance service contract ahead of time, we have to have money available to do it. So what we'd be doing is we'd be shifting the monetary value of the radios we would buy to the maintenance service agreement to buy ahead of time. We also in this have got figured in using the remainder of the ARPA funds and interest to buy that down as well. And I also subtracted off, we sat down with IT and Harris and we discussed what we'd always anticipated our people will be able to do in-house maintenance wise, and we subtracted that out. And that's what gets us down to this number.
Could you explain to them, I think what it's referring to, why it starts out at 442 for 4 years and then goes to 371? Could you tell them what that is?
What that is you have a refurbish of equipment at year 7 and another one at year 14. We got 3 years of warranty up front, we pay nothing for. So when you spread out the value of the refurbished at year 7 over 4 years, it's more than when you spread it over 7. So the second refurbish is spread over 7 years, which is that lower average amount of money. So that's why the first 4 years are 442,000. Because you only got a 4-year window to pay for that refurbish, and then it drops to 371 because I got a 7-year window to pay that off. If we don't buy that stuff down up front, if we buy down up front, we wind up with that steady 174, 741 across. And that's estimated, once you get down to signing contracts, but it'll be in that area. May even be less because we've done conservative figures on the amount of leftover ARPA funds and interest. We may have more there when we get to that time.
So your proposal is to leave out the cities and the SDs.
Yes. It's the only way I can find to get the recurring costs down to a number where y'all want to absorb it. And if we absorb it, then that eliminates us having to pass that on to the other agencies.
And the county would pay for the service agreement.
Yes.
And the entities would pay for the radios, but we take care of all the service agreement.
Yes.
So if we get, I think, I'm not putting any words in his mouth, but if we got the service agreement under $200,000 a year, then it would eliminate the need to do airtime charges or charge for service. We would be able to absorb 200,000 a year in the future. So that's why we put all this together, or Chad put all this together, was to try to get that number down so that we can avoid any talk of airtime charges in the future.
And it's a number that we can afford to absorb without having to worry about it.
But you're paying down on this with the ARPA money.
Yes, sir.
So that's why that is the lower price.
Yes, sir.
But really, we're paying the full amount, but we're paying off with the ARPA money.
We're getting a lot closer to the full amount. There'll still be a little bit of that down the road we gotta pay. It uses that federal funding to pay for the bulk of it.
Can we use ARPA money like that? I know we can use the interest, but can we use the ARPA money?
Yes, sir. We have got it cleared through Grant Works. We are good to go. We even sent them a copy of this maintenance service agreement for them to review. I got an email later, just here recently today, that I had a chance to send y'all to verify that, but ARPA has given us a green light.
There's no restrictions on any ARPA money or.
So for the Grant Works, we can use those funds for this.
Well, I was for, if you give one city something, you got to give all cities something. So you've eliminated the cities.
Yes, sir.
But I still think that we ought to take care of our fire departments, service districts, SDs. And the thing is, the grant money is everybody's money. It's tax money that everybody's paid into. So why shouldn't we spread it out to emergency services? Fire department.
All of our money's paid out to everybody, Virgil. Why don't we stop with radios? We can do something for them every year. I mean, we should take care of our business. It's our job, Van Zandt County's job to take care of Van Zandt County. It's the ESD's job to take care of their stuff. It's the city's job to take care of their stuff.
But with this plan, we're taking care of the whole service agreements. There's no yearly
That's right.
dues.
We're
that the
being,
city has, all y'all are in charge of are radios. Get your radios.
we're being good.
And then you can go
Good
to our,
neighbors. We're being good neighbors. We're not for at least 15 years. You won't have to pay a dime to get on this $10 million radio system.
Except for having to buy all of our radios. We still have to buy all of our radio discs to not have to pay a service contract. And y'all have used the money that you would have bought our radios with to pay down the service contract, so we're paying down the service contract. Because it's money we would have gotten or for used for radios. But you're gonna take it away from us on radio, and you're gonna pay down the service contract. So therefore, we are paying down the service contract out to $10 billion.
Why don't we buy you a fire truck too?
That's never been discussed, and it's not mandated that we have fire trucks. But it is mandated that we have to go to this P25. It is something we didn't choose. We were not required to go to P92, P25. Which the cities, the county decided to do that with this $10 million. So therefore, that's forcing every volunteer fire department in this county to go to that to receive the help we need through dispatch.
So y'all don't want to go on it?
We don't want to give up our money for it. When you're going to go on it. There's no doubt about that. It's a $7-8 where we got the dispatch trained to do it and everything. That mandates our fire department and everybody else's fire department to have to go to it or not be able to talk to 911, or not be able to talk to dispatch, not be able to talk to other fire departments.
No, sir, we don't have to go to it. If all you volunteer firemen say, hey, we don't want this thing, we can throw this thing in the trash and move on down the road.
With all the equipment you've already bought and put in that sheriff's department,
We haven't bought. We haven't bought.
consoles and everything.
That'll work on the system we got now or the new system. It's working today. It's working today, dispatching everybody in this county. So that's not wasted money.
It's partially wasted money because it costs a whole lot more to put in the P25 system than it would to go and update the VHL.
We got that, we received a grant on that money.
Everything we've done has been.
If you don't go with P25, what have you got? You've got how many?
We've got a brand new dispatch system over
I
there.
know. And it's P25.
No, sir.
And
We're dispatching off that today, Tim. We're dispatching off that on the radio system we've got today.
But when you go to P25, you've got to put two more consoles in
No, sir.
because it's already P25 compliant.
It's just like it was. We've got dispatchers there before, we've got a new system, and we've got a new dispatch run. It'll run on the system we got now, or it'll run on P25.
The scrap the whole thing and get VHL fixed to where it's compatible, where it works, where it's not 25-year-old equipment. Put in new equipment for that.
VHL, it's as good as it can be today.
No, it's not. It can get better. There could be different systems if VHL put in on this system right now that can make it better. There is one of the companies around that put a system together for himself with equipment and checked it out and was able to update what we got. We got old inverters, we got old everything. You spend more money, you spend money to fix the VHL, then we would be able to talk. And it wouldn't be $10 million. It wouldn't be $5 million. But you could investigate and see what it would be to make the VHL work. Because it will, and it can be, it can be new equipment put in. There's the repeaters you have now.
Tim, I want to address a few different things you said. Number one, you said we're taking radio money away from you to pay down the service contract. Well, if we don't, you're going to pay airtime. You'll pay just in this 12-year contract alone 3 times what your radios cost. And you're still going to buy radios anyway. You sit right here and said you're going to buy radios above and beyond what we was going to give you anyway. So you're going to buy them anyway. And keep in mind, your ESD sends us a financial statement every year. We got yours last month. You got the money sitting to buy every radio you need right now. You may have a plan for it, but it's there. You can change your plan. Now let's go back to the VHL. If your fire chief was sitting here, he'd argue you right now, it's a bad idea. He'll tell you he needs this P25 system radio coverage. He'll tell you the VHS system don't work. He'll tell you what you want to do don't work. We researched that. We looked into it. We hired a consulting firm to study that for us before we went P25 to verify that wouldn't work. You're looking for an alternate, very inexpensive way to keep them spending ESD money on radios. But you're setting up a bigger problem. For one, in the future, we're mandated to move to P25 at some point in time. Two, every neighbor we got's on P25. And three, the VHL system won't get the effective coverage we need. We've done studied it and looked at it. So that's not an option. The question here is, do you want to have no airtime, buy what radios you want to buy? Or do you want us to pay for the airtime and give you radios and then turn around and charge you for the airtime and you pay 3 times as much? Which do you want to do here? Which is more important to you? Over the life of this thing, if you're paying 25,000 a year, if you're paying 10,000, you're going to pay more than what the radios would cost. This way, you put as many radios as you want on it, and it not cost.
We have to go and do a loan or something like that.
You got the money sitting in a bank. I seen the report last week. You got the money sitting in a bank about it.
Did I get $7 we got $1 million fire station to build?
Yeah, you can put it off a year.
We need to get the fire station built. We need it.
You to prioritize. You can prioritize your firefighter safety and communication or your truck safety with the station. That's y'all's business. You have a board for that.
Still say that you're taking the money, you admit it yourself, you're gonna take part of the money and pay down the contract and not buy us radios, is that right?
So that you don't have to pay, so that you don't have to pay a recurring cost.
Basically, the county doesn't have enough money to pay for this whole thing, and we've got to try to work out a way where we can pay for what we can pay for, and we have to have help, and you're gonna have to help us. And with the system, with this new system, the way it works, you gotta take fire and you gotta take police and both of them in consideration. Whereas you have a fire here, y'all communicate, and what if we have it for the policeman, you're having a chase from multiple counties. If we have this system in there, it's all communicated with each other. That's on the police side, not the fire side. So the system, huh?
That's on both sides.
Right, but the police side would need more of a chase from county to county, and the fire side is what I'm saying.
They routinely go into other counties and help, and other counties come here. It's all the same concept.
But you'll be able to communicate with everyone on this system, but the county just can't afford it all. And we got to figure out a way, what can we do? And how can y'all help us? Or what can we do to just work together on it?
And some of this situation has been because we couldn't get in on this thing when it was a cheaper thing. And when you get here at 10 million, there was probably enough to do everything he wants to do. But COVID and everything else has made everything go up. And I'm thinking that sometimes we seem to be getting big.
Tim, if it wasn't for COVID, we'd never be doing this. If it wasn't for COVID, we wouldn't have got this grant. We wouldn't have got this 10 million, or $11 million what we got. But we wouldn't have got the $11 million hadn't been for COVID. But yes, sir, you're right. It's gone from
It's gone from 4 to 100.
it's gone from $500,000 to, well, the $500,000 that was told to me 7 years ago was probably a little
Underrated.
way underrated. Because I believe it cost Canton over $1 million for the little system they got here.
That's right. And that was astronomical then.
Yes, sir.
And if you actually,
That's my mind. I want to go there and talk here.
Sure.
If you look how this county's growing, what we got, it's gonna be outdated. I mean, I don't know if need is the word, but let's go ahead and use that word. I mean, we need a system like this for as rapid as we are growing.
It's for the future.
And Tim, I appreciate that. There's what we're talking about here. There's no wrong answer. Okay.
That's what I say. There were avenues before, but maybe not now.
There's no wrong opinion. It's not what you want and what I want. If we
It's
did,
not bothered me that,
Yeah.
what I said and what y'all said, I take it all in and I understand.
yes, sir.
And y'all don't have to go out and buy what are those radios, the P25 radios, what are L3 radios, whatever they're called, the expensive one. I mean, there's other radios out there that aren't as expensive, isn't there?
Oh, yes, sir.
That it's not gonna cost you the Well, I mean, I don't know what they cost, so I'm just mumbling, but you don't have to get the, you don't have to get the Cadillac.
Really
radio.
hard pressed to find some cheaper ones.
The radios have roughly a 50% discount through our contract. From what, with the standard, so they're what, $2,300 for the XL 145s? What if they went from 145s to the 45s like the road and bridge department have? What do
You
you
move
move?
away, the 145 is designed for a public works or road and bridge. It's not designed for someone who's putting. Yeah, it's not designed for life safety like they're going into. The lowest on the market, that's gonna be the 185.
Okay, I got a question for you, Chad. Whenever, y'all have said and done, and we start ordering radios, we're gonna get the contract pricing. I understand that. But how long, like if we can't buy, but X amount of radios, but we have to wait a couple of years for tax money, what's gonna happen the next year? Is it gonna get locked in for us?
I met with them yesterday. We're definitely good through the end of this year. And I even talked to them about the installations, so the installation cost stays the same for you. Y'all picked up an extra fire truck or two since what was originally planned.
For the end of next year.
End of next year.
Yeah, and next year, computer, yeah.
During.
I misspoke.
implementation.
I'm thinking January 25, not bad,
Okay,
but yeah.
so we've got locked in that our ESD can buy these radios at the full price that we have right now through the end of 25.
24.
24.
24.
To verify 25.
What is the quoted price?
It depends on which radio they want to get. We provide them with, I do believe, 3 different prices.
Right.
I put the one in there that we originally had in the contract, but they've got the option of the XL 200, the XL 400, the 185, which would be what they would use in their market. And we do have pricing for a 145, but like he said, it's not something he can use in his operation.
But now the 191,000 for what you have proposed right now, I think you have 33 units.
We got 35 handheld. 15 truck mobile. And then 4 base stations. And the handhelds right now are $2,515.
38 is what I have.
Mobile units are 3,962.
Hold on, Tim. What was the first one, 2015?
Yeah, 2515.28. For a handheld.
Okay.
And then for a mobile truck is 3962.97. Now,
Does that include the discount?
that's what.
That's a discounted price right there,
But.
which is roughly a 50% discount.
$54.66 to program every radio. They're gonna charge us $562.50 to install every mobile. That's not included in the price of the radio.
Is that every area?
When you come down to the bottom line number of all installation, all programming for the radios we have talked about, it's 191,418.69.
I was just trying to get a breakdown of the price for the
191.48.
city, see how much they need
That's
to,
what it says.
see how much they need. to
Right
spend,
there.
or what it's gonna cost, not making this thing spend.
Right.
191,418.
We're not wanting to hire for pretty basic.
Yeah, it included the base.
191 we got a figure here, was in there, that includes the base stations too.
This 4-way station.
Right.
So if you're gonna pay 191,000 up front for a radio. How much would you, we haven't calculated, but that would be cheaper than paying for a service agreement. You pay for it in the front end, but you gain it in the back end. Or instead of paying for the service agreement every year.
Okay? I understand. Will there be some type of situation where in 10 years from now, when I'm not here, if y'all are not here, the county decides, hey, you gotta make these people pay for this contract, right? This system. Question?
As always possible. Never can tell.
Yes, sir.
We all-
Depends on who you elect.
Yeah,
But there's no commitment from you guys that down the road that you would keep paying that amount. There's no contract between you and the city that you guys purchased these radios, you spent all this money, we're committing to this, but it's not in writing. It could change in 3 years.
There-
It
there will be-
can change when it's time to start paying the $50,000 a year fees. Isn't that correct?
Yes, it could change. However, we will have to sign MOUs with all the cities and we can put something in there to that effect. At least for the 15 years that we're working on,
Okay.
that could be put in
Because
there.
I'm the mayor of Van, and the concern for me is if we're having to purchase these radios and have them, I guess, set up by December 24th, is that when it's supposed to be starting? Okay, we've already done our budget for this year.
Right.
That's a big hit to the city of Van
Mhm.
that I'm not sure was considered in any of this situation. We do not have the money to just go to the bank or I don't think it's fair to our taxpayers to do that. The taxpayers do pay county tax, whether they live in the city of Van or not. So they are paying something to the county,
Right.
regardless of what that looks like to you guys. I'm just not sure that it's fair to them to say, oh, by the way, I know that we approved all of this and you guys voted for all this. But now, hey, we need another $200,000. I mean, I'm not sure that that was considered in the timetable of this, because it's kind of a, here, figure it out.
And we're paying it. This $174,000 that we're gonna pay each year. We're paying that, not out of ARPA money. We're paying that out of Van Zandt County tax dollars.
But what I'm saying is the money to have to purchase the radios, to have them up and installed and programmed and everything by December, that's gonna have to come out of this fiscal
Yes,
budget
ma'am.
that just started this month, that we just voted on last month, that did not include any of this.
Yes, ma'am. And the city of Van, got ARPA money. They could have taken their ARPA money and bought radios with it.
But they didn't know about it.
That's the problem, we didn't know about it, and we requested ARPA money for different projects in town. So, that's the thing, I mean, it's fine to do this, and I think that our chief and our fire department, they like the idea of these radios. I think the timetable is very inconvenient, so to speak, for the city.
Y'all should have been in here a year ago.
Well, we should have done something earlier. Yeah, but we can't.
I actually visited with your former city manager over a year ago.
I can't speak about my former city manager.
I understand.
I
that.
don't-
That's what you realize.
But
It ain't like Van bailing out last week. This has been an ongoing process for 2 years, and I was down there looking for tower sites and talking about the water tower. And he was very well versed on this.
Misunderstood, whether it's stated or not, because it's been told to me that everyone felt like this $11 million that was received was going to pay for this whole situation. Now, maybe 2 years ago, it could have paid for the whole situation, and now we're down the road and it can't. But at that point, that's what was understood. So at that point, it wasn't a, hey, you guys are gonna need to come up with X amount of dollars every year, starting in 2 years, so that we can even plan for that. That's my concern, is that whatever the former city manager did, he's not here anymore, and so we're kind of in a place where we have not planned for this, and so that's my concern. And I understand that Ben Wheeler doesn't, get money for their fire department, I totally get that. And I think it would be irresponsible for you guys to expect them to pay the same thing that Van is expected to pay. It's not an ideal situation. So,
Well, and there'll be plenty of time. There'll be 3 months next year. You'll have plenty of time to budget it next year and have 3 months to get them installed before we go on.
so we don't have to order them, because I think my chief was under the impression that we need to order in the spring in order to have everything set up. Is that not, how long does it take to? Because that makes a huge difference too. If we could put it into that fiscal budget and order them in October, that would be a whole lot better than.
And I explained to Harris that is our expectation. While the building we've rented the store installed in, we've rented it through the end of December next year to allow that 3-month window. So that y'all can get your radios and you install. I've also discussed them about supply chain issues and ordering time frame. To let them know, these amount of radios we originally put in the contract, we expect to have brought in and installed. It just may be another entity paid for on a contract instead of us. And so they're already preparing and planning to make sure those radios are in and available. So it just be a matter of getting PO in. So
As far, because with city things, anything is gonna take longer. We're gonna have to get bids out from different companies and that sort of thing, regardless of this, if this, the best price or not, we are gonna have to put those bids out, take.
if you want to go out and look at other options, that's your option. However, the radios in our contract are already vetted, bidded, and ready to go. You
Okay,
don't have to go through the bid process and buy Harris radios. We've
Okay.
already accomplished all that.
because you guys have done that, the city doesn't have to do that.
It's back to back over, they're just done.
I'm sorry,
Just like to buy a board.
okay.
Keep in mind, if you buy something other than Harris radio, our setup for pricing, our setup for installation, all that won't count, because you'll be dealing with whoever you buy your radio.
Of course, I mean, that makes sense.
Brian, you still got something?
Yeah, I want to address Mr. Brad said about ESP. I'm on the ESP 3
Yes, sir.
and we do have some money we been saving for 10 years for purchasing or building a station for Station 4. We've been renting and we're not there yet. We're trying to do it without having to borrow money. I don't like to borrow money anymore from you guys. But this 191,000 is 1/4 of our yearly budget. For this expenditure, last year we had to buy brush trucks. And think that they would cost, but they do, but now we got it out, it was over $200,000. That's about a quarter of the budget. We had used some of that money we've been saving back, so. I want our guys to be able to convert it to the county, but they get called out on the interstate that block the traffic when they're ready. Or get off at parts of the county and all got them in your precincts for radio and cell phone. Don't work. No chance. You get above the highway 80 back on the river, it don't work. You're just there. And the same thing happens down in South Bend and down in the wall there. And that is that 191,000 is a big leak come out all at once.
Chad, what? Didn't they bid this thing to where the old system is gonna be up for a year? After this one goes in?
It depends on when we convert the old system into interop radio. When we switch them over for interop purposes.
So they'll have some time.
We'll need to move the tires at the Wills Point location off the rental and on hours, get away from that, but that won't take a day. There'll be a limited amount of time. But it can't be out on more
I
forever.
mean, no, well, you,
Always have to have VHF. I mean. For counties that don't have the P24 system,
That's what was using our old
yeah,
repeaters for, was to use them for interoperability communication means. If Wood and Ramsey, the only two counties around us that don't have it, they need to come over, we'd be able to, whichever tower's closest to the area they're in, put them on that tower. And then connect them through to us, passing through for that incident. So that's what we plan on doing with those repeaters. That's why leaving them up and running in their current fashion isn't something we can do for a long period of time.
would it be safe to say we could do it for a year?
We could,
So they give them two budget cycles to equip the radios, so the ones that they didn't buy, and they had a truck with an old radio in it, they'd still have communications for two budget cycles to give everybody time, just like she was saying, to give everybody time to switch over. If they didn't get one switched over, we can give them a deadline, say at the end of 2025. It's other than patching one vehicle to another, they'll still be able to patch two together, but you won't have communications like you do now.
if you wanted to give it 1 year, what we could do, the 3 ESDs each have a repeater in their ESD. of some sort to extent. So for South Van Zandt, you got the one on the courthouse sitting in their service area. Covering it. You got the one down at Eagle, kind of overshadows a little bit. The one up in Roanoke is in most CSD, but you could coordinate with them for that year when they get their radios. Say, okay, we've got enough radios to officially talk to y'all. Then you could drop that link out and set that apart. And they all tie through one repeater, so that's.
But they gain nothing by staying off the system. They're not getting any better reception.
No, they're gonna have all the problems they got now, and we're going to have a dispatcher listening to an extra channel. So whereas now you got fire and you got fire dispatch, and you're gonna have. So you got the law enforcement channel, SO channel, the fire dispatch channel, and you're gonna have the law enforcement channel. Then you're gonna have the new fire channel, then you're gonna have the old fire channel. You're adding work on your dispatchers.
Yes, you're right, and it's
But-
not any
but-
better, but
Yeah,
they have what they got now.
I mean. The whole purpose is,
Situation here, I'm also ESD3. And the problem that ESDs have, that we are constitutionally capped on how much money we can bring in. We were at the edge of that cap already now. So we don't have a option to up our taxes to cover these kind of unusual, let's call it, bumps in the road. A month ago, we were gonna get $190,000. Bam, now we're getting zero. I mean, I've got the same problem that the Slater van has. We try to look down the road and keep the bumps as smooth as we can. When you throw these kind of bumps, all you're doing is, the way I understand it, is you're fixing your problem and you're throwing it on us. Does that make sense?
we're not fixing our problem if you don't get radios.
But if we were gonna get $191,000.
That was never decided that you were gonna get that.
This will just be comparison.
What that piece of paper there says is how much the radios for your.
This was an application. The way I read this.
No, it wasn't an allocation. That is the amount that it would cost for the radios to provide for the.
That's what we. And again, as Mr. Cummings just said. A $200,000 hickey is 25% of our annual take from the taxpayers. And it's hard to smooth that bump out.
Yeah, and we're,
Go ahead.
no,
But if we don't, it's a no-win situation. If we don't do that, then we can't afford the service agreement. So
But if we do.
boils down to it, we just can't afford it.
It's 22.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
You know, that service agreement,
planning is our job, all of our job. And long range planning is how we keep problems from occurring. And this is a big bump in our road. Big.
Would you prefer to pay an ongoing cost that equals
I
3 or
can
4
plan for ongoing costs. I can't plan for $200,000 bumps, probably, and there'll probably be even more than that.
So you're fine with spending your entire budget over a 12-year period, just don't spend a quarter of it now.
Exactly, because I can plan for 12 years. I can't plan for this, in our eyes, this big that just came up in the last month. We're just like the lady here said, we just finished our budget. We don't have the money in our budget for any of this. It ain't there. You know, we'll have to either borrow money or pull into reserves, you know, or else. But that's where we are.
Well, Chad, have you has any consideration ever been done? So we keep this old system going for the fire departments, for all volunteer fire departments. We buy no radios for any volunteer fire department, let them stay on the bands they're on now. And then but to keep that up, we'll have to charge a small maintenance fee to all the volunteer fire departments and the ESDs to be able to keep that system up for them.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna charge them amount of money to keep them on a system that's inefficient and does not work. Because one agency doesn't want to reach into the reserves and buy the radio. So we're gonna make all the other agencies put their firefighters at risk and not have communication ability. And then turn around and charge a service fee to all of them anyway. Because one agency don't want to reach into their reserve saving account and buy radios. That's the idea.
Well,
I mean,
I would agree with you, but I'm not sure that the ESD3 is the only agency that there may be others out there that feel just like they do, is what I'm saying. And so, I mean, if that's the case, we just leave them old radios in their deal and the fire departments, I mean, we're trying to help and give a system they can get on. But if that's not what they want to do, then keep what you got.
What is and I've been told this, in several conversations, nothing ever official or known. When is or does or will the state ever mandate P25?
September 1st of 2025, it's in the Texas interoperability plan.
That's for the interoperability with the state of Texas, right?
Covers all counties within that plan. That's the state mandate that we have to meet the September 1st of 2025.
To be on P25.
Yes, sir.
Is there a federal mandate?
They're within the FEMA. Within FEMA, there is a federal mandate for P25 as well. But the decision on Texas is going to be key to make sure there's interoperability throughout the state. Again, all this stems back from 9/11 when we didn't have that capability.
and this lets us,
In the VFH, we had to go and have radios reprogrammed and get different radios because of interoperability. So I knew that, and I knew that I had been told that there's some time in the state of Texas, interoperability will have to be P25. That's why I'm asking. Maybe y'all didn't know that.
so this is where we're at. The county's bought the system to get us all to it. We've made it available. And all we're asking, we're telling you, we're trying to set up where you don't have any recurring costs. Buy the radios you need, the amount that you think you need. And let's go forward.
Another question. It was touched on a little bit last time, maybe even during the commissioner report. What is actually the absolute official stance on the towers? I've been told we're already contracted. We're not contracted. We have the towers.
The towers have been through the bidding RFP process. The contract has been awarded. We've gone in and wrote a contract with that vendor. We're just waiting on the court to sign it. They said they wanted to wait until we worked out this problem we're talking about today before they sign it.
Okay, so you have the contract and everything with the company to build them. Have you set that exact dollar amount in there, or is it this is the amount, but it could go up?
The dollar amount is set and good for 30 days.
It's when you-
The,
I mean, this
the quote is good for 30
days.
days.
On this dollar,
Since that last meeting we had, since the
Okay.
last commissioner's court meeting, we got 30 days from then.
and that's how much?
It's gonna be right at 3 million.
Okay.
For all four tires.
So everything about this whole thing won't even work at all until we get the tower done.
The commissioners wanted to work out what radios they was buying and what they was doing with the maintenance service agreement before they voted on the towers. That's what they made clear to me. So that's why I got these numbers. We got this workshop trying to work it out.
No sense to get towers if we ain't got radios.
Mhm.
So since the radio, we don't have power.
Well,
That's what I was trying to get at.
it's what they say, 6 months, all the tires will be up in 6 months with the exception of the generators.
Okay.
And the generators are 55 week. They're 55 weeks out. Our bid is only good for 30 days and our clock's ticking.
I understand.
So we've got some decisions we gotta make, but it comes to a point where we had to come out and figure out how in the world Van Zandt County was gonna pay $442,000 a year for maintenance,
Right.
you know? And we've cut that down, you know, we're paying $174,000 a year out of not ARPA money, out of taxpayer dollars. Plus, over 15 years, we're paying $855,000 in wages to 2 employees that we've hired to oversee this system. That's coming out of taxpayer dollars, not ARPA money. So I don't know where we're all missing to, and this little pea brain right here, it seems like we're trying to do the most noble thing that we can, because it's constant that we hear from all fire department and police, and if you don't do something, somebody's gonna lose their life. And so we're trying to do the best we can, but before we got this ARPA money, this was, well, I mean, you might as well told us that it did cost $10 million or $100,000. We couldn't bought it. We didn't have any money. And so this window came along, this opportunity came along, and then, like I say, in this pea brain, I'm sitting there thinking, man, we're gonna put this system out here, make it available for you. Don't charge you anything for airtime, don't charge anything for maintenance. And there it is, guys. Here it is, use it, get on it. We want everybody, we want every ISD on it. We want the schools on it.
But they hadn't had time to plan for the expenses that are coming up, because we're telling them now.
They do have time to plan. They've got next year, their budget's just like ours.
That's what you got.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until everybody kind of had a chance. So I'm gonna introduce myself because I think there's some builders that I haven't met. My name is Jeremy Barker. I'm the public safety director for the city of Grants. So within that role, I serve as police chief, but I'm also the fire chief, ESD 2. So I'm fortunate to work with an ESD. They contract with the city fire department to provide services in Grants City Fire. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to the commissioners for finally addressing the need. And I will say need, sir, it is a need that needs to be addressed. It's been a problem in Van Zandt County for a long time. I may not share the same sentiments as some of the others in the room, and that's fine. I've been known to go against the grain sometimes. But a new system, a system that you all have looked at, that you've put out for contract, that you've had bidded, is exactly what Van Zandt County needs. So thank you all for finally taking care of that. Now, I understand it's a hard situation where you sit, because you can't make everybody happy. And I want to address a few things that have been said. We have had time, sometime. It's something that we as a city discussed in budget planning for this fiscal year. As far as PD radios, if it comes to the point where the county couldn't afford to pay for the radios. And it was something in budget planning. Obviously, I'm not a board member, I'm not a city council member. But DSD has actually ear tag money for radio purchases this year. It may not be everything, but we at least can take a big swing at the chunk of it. So to sit here and say we hadn't had time to plan, I don't think that's a fair statement. We knew that this project has been, kind of trudging along, and should have been responsible enough to start having those conversations, but I know we did. I know in the perfect world, we all would like to sit out here and, have the county put the bill for the radios and take care of the maintenance fees. We'd all be happy. Hey, if you had the money, I'm sure you would. But I understand your financial and fiscal obligations to the taxpayers and to the county to try to make good decisions. And, put the county in a decent position as far as trying to buy down. And I support it. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I'm mad if I have to buy radios. We knew that was an option. I knew that was an option the whole time. There was no guarantee that the county was going to do this. I knew when they asked for our numbers, it was just to try to get a estimate on the number of radios so we could try to get the contract pricing down based off the numbers of radios we thought we were going to need. I fully support myself, and I don't get to make a decision. We'll have to take this back to the ESD board and the city governance and let them make that decision. But me personally, I support the efforts that you all are trying to make to have this project move forward, because again, it's not a want, it's a need. It's something that we've needed to do. And I appreciate y'all finally addressing this. And I know that it's not that you hadn't wanted to. until the ARPA funds came about, we've not had an avenue to address this need. So this is gonna get us what we need. Patching our analog V8 chip system, it's not, that's just putting a Band-Aid on the problem, and it's still gonna be a problem. So I fully support the move to this new system. Now, you're not gonna make everybody happy. Sure, no one, really has the funds to go out and buy the radios up front. But from my perspective, I think that would be the most feasible thing to do, to be good neighbors and work together on a solution for this problem. Sure, bumps in the roads happen. I deal with bumps in the roads all the time. We did have some time to plan with it for it. And you might not this year, which budget amendments are always an option. If you want to try to cover it in this year, getting a loan is an option. You might not want to, but if that's something you have to do, you do have options. Or planning for it in the next fiscal year is always an option if we're still going to have the contact pricing during the installation. So I personally support, and I would much rather not having, from my perspective, and I met with Dan today, she's their city administrator. She come with me. She is also of the same sentiment. Now, we won't get to vote and make a decision, but we will be the ones selling it, presenting it. And me personally, I would much rather buy my radios up front than have those annual recurring fees. So I support the move that the medical, whatever it's worth. I'll leave it at that. And a side note, sure, I have DSD at the fire department now, so I have been affiliated with fire departments in the past that I think y'all had deemed them fundraiser only, where that, they don't have a tax-based city or an ESD to help them with funds. I'm gonna go out on a limb for those folks. They're not gonna be able to purchase radios. So if the county would consider helping those fire departments out, I know they would all greatly appreciate that. That's all I have. Unless you have some questions or anything, but I just wanted to speak on it.
Right?
Chad, is there any way that we can extend that to where we can buy part of the radios in a year and part of them the next year after that same?
I'll have to follow up and see where the actual almost 50% discount pricing is.
Because
Now, you could buy some this budget and some after October's budget, but the following year's budget, that's pushing way out. I don't know if they're going to continue that reduced price
that's
that
what
long.
I've asked, because we've already done this year.
Yeah.
Budget. And this wasn't it.
And I understand that, and that's one reason why we work to get to where you can get them in October. So you got this year to budget plan for the following October. I'll get the latest, I'll get with them, I'll find out what the very latest they'll let us carry that price is.
Way they've been doing. I would bet they would. The way Harris has been doing so far.
Chad, do you think it's something that I asked you because I'm going to deal with it primarily if the ESDs and the cities that maybe weren't able to purchase the radios this year and going into next year, if we're dealing with an estimated number of radios, if they knew they were going to have a sale of so many numbers, see if they could discount it, maybe present that to them to help out the cities and the other ESDs to plan and make the radio purchases to get over, because we all have to get together. Running two systems is not an option. And the need is to get us all on this new system. It's not a hassle way, so we can maybe present that to Harris, have Van mentioned and the other two ESDs in the county. If they know they're gonna sell 1,000 radios out of all the other agencies, if they'd be willing to negotiate price and things.
I made it, the way I got them to push the installation over the 3 months and say, we're buying the radios, it's just a matter of paying for it. And I know what most of y'all planned about above and beyond that. Tim made it very clear the last workshop that they needed way more than what we put in. I would need those numbers. Y'all need to get with your people and let me know exactly how many you think you're gonna be getting, so I can take that.
And there's another point, I just want to reiterate, I've heard something I don't necessarily agree with too, that the county is not gonna get, they're just reallocating funds instead of buying the radios. They're paying down the maintenance contract, and I would much rather not pay a service or a maintenance fee over the 15-year contract versus buying my radios. That's my stance. Again, I don't get to make decisions, but I'm gonna be the salesman trying to get the council in direction. So
Chad, when would you like that number? Cities. It's not,
The more convenient time frame you get it to, the more time I got to work on.
David Birdsong, South Van County, gonna be cheap. On the radios that we're getting quotes for, are those like top of the line, limited with all the bells and whistles? Or are those just, hey, you can push the button, top push and get your transmission out?
The
Does that
one,
make sense? Like,
yes,
Okay.
the ones on the L3 Harris contract that we have. It's an XL 185. They have an XL 200 that's one step above it, and XL 400 that's the NFPA approved one. You know, it's like $10,000 radio. These will have the push to talk on, they have the Wi-Fi in it, LTE capability in it, Bluetooth in it. And also has the push to talk GPS tracking.
Explain what push to talk on
Every time you key up, it'll populate on our map where you're at.
GPS location.
So the location there. So that's included in our rate. Plus an extended life battery and a spare extended life battery for our rate.
We're going with that concern is cost, and we have Witten, World Springs, and Midway that are, they may not have the funding for this. Just try to get some ideas if there's some. Are there add-ons for those radios that can be removed so that we can vary the cost of the radios based on what department's doing?
They gave us all them radios as a bonus to help secure their contract.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chad.
Hey, Barry. Got you.
Hey, also, don't forget encryption.
Oh, yes, and they also threw in the multi-key encryption on all the radios.
Well, if we took that out, it wouldn't charge us the price.
No,
The encryption.
they already never did that in there. That's all above the line. They say it's part of the radio good price.
What's this? Motorola's here. What do you have to say? Anything?
Well, yeah, I'm running both on the QCA, both being taken out of town, Motorola dealer, and we're here to help. Situation, we're here to help anyway. We did call and ask for a price. Have that yet, we're working on that. And we'll get back to you with a price on some rates. We're willing to help anyway, we're gonna get it. So, yeah, we'll help some radios, install anything. Your radios have a GPS. Yes. Yeah.
The P25 GPS will work on the radio. Oh, they don't have the push and talk. That's a hair. Oh, yeah, they're gonna work through the Harris controller.
We can integrate it into.
Good.
Well, I believe it's imperative that we work with the cities. Both the police departments and the fire departments. The cities have been instrumental in helping our county in these last few years with the sheriff's department, and that they have never asked for anything from us. And I feel like that to a certain extent that we're doing a lot with this radio system to try to help pay that back, and anything more that we can do. I am personally comfortable with a annual service amount of about 200,000. I think that we could be able to afford that, the increase in the coming years. And so we're looking at 174 right now with no sponsored radios, and 189. So there may be some room in there to if the commissioners agree to not drop it all the way down to 135 or 174, that we could then have some kind of allocation for the other entities. But I do firmly believe that we should take care of the volunteer fire departments that talk about, because they just have no chance of getting something installed in that regard. So to summarize what I believe everyone's said here is no airtime charges in the future. I believe that's what we're trying to do.
15 years.
Well, yeah, in the 15 years, beyond our lifetimes, I guess.
I hope not. Beyond.
And whatever we can do to help out with the finance, or not the financing, but with the spreading out the cost of the radios over a period of time would be the most beneficial. With ultimately, we give radios away, which, okay, you gotta understand, we can't do that. We're already too far, but looking at other options in that regard. So am I close? Have I pretty well summed up what we've come to in that? Okay, very good. So we see what we can do in that regard. So, but what we are basing it off of the numbers Chad came up with a year ago when we started, 2 years ago, when we started the RFP. So you need to get with Chad, each entity, and make sure that the numbers that you got are there, because we do have the ability to lock in these prices only for so long, and that's what we want to find out. Try to get an accurate number to go back to Harris with, say that the entities want to get. So okay, so
One more comment.
yes, sir.
This piece of paper that I have right here, are you familiar with that?
I have seen it. It's not public. It's not public information. I don't know how you got it. Who gave it to you?
I got it. The bottom line of this is, if the quantities of radios change, the supplier has the option to modify the price.
We've already worked that out. We from the very get-go on that, we told Harris, when they gave us that, it was asked straight up, is that if we buy one radio, or if we buy everything on that list? And they said it's a,
That's what this is.
yes,
Yeah.
and contrary to Mr. Reese, everything that Van Zandt County's got is public. We don't hide nothing. So,
But the way the resident says that, the discount is on a per radio purchase. So if you don't buy the radio, you don't get the discount. Well, that's gonna reflect a lower discount, but you didn't buy the radio, so it offsets. Because that radio, that discount applied to that radio. So that's what that line is saying. If you buy less radios, your discount's gonna drop by the amount of radio you didn't buy, because you didn't get the discount for that radio. That's what that's about.
And so if you buy radios for PDs, what will you have that in there, just buying PD radios? How much does your service contract go up to, $174,000?
The service contract's primarily for the main system,
Right.
and it's not related to the radios. The radios have a 1-year warranty.
But you're upping the number of radios to get that contract down.
That includes not buying PD radio,
Well-
but it's no city radio. That's not buying for any city, for the PDs are part of the city. So that's dropped down.
At 174.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just reflecting what the judge, his comments were, that PDs were a valuable part. And that he was willing to go up to $200,000 on the service contract if we bought PD radio. Or did I misunderstand?
Okay, I said that I am comfortable. That is not this court. Okay. I'm comfortable at 200,000 a year for the maintenance, and that and I don't know if the commissioners want to address that or not. But we have Chad has worked it out to various levels right here, based on what radios that we do provide.
Right.
So.
We all sit right here, and Harris came down here, and they said, this is what the service contract's going to be. $450,000. And the court voted to get the contract. We didn't know how it was going to pay for it. We didn't think about how it was going to pay for it. And now we're trying to figure out how we're going to pay for it. Somebody is not going to get some radio. It's just, I don't know. I'm done.
Well, Mr. Reese, you got your opinion, I'll give mine. I believe we ought to go with the 174,741. Reason being is we nearly seldom ever hit something on the low side. And on our employees that we're gonna cover, our true employees, Chad's got it in there, what they make today, that over this period, we're gonna pay them $855,000, but that doesn't include any increases in their benefits or any increases in their salary and everything. So I strongly believe we've got to keep it as low as possible that we can and still cover these recurring costs so that y'all don't have to pay anything. And we're in the, by the way, Van Zandt County is in the same boat with you on that ESD. We're capped at 3.5%, just like you are. We can't bring in.
Our cap is a different cap than your cap.
They can't go out for a road.
We can't go past a dime. Period.
We can't either.
You can go,
We can have the voters vote on
go
it.
back and go before you can go, and so can we, but we can't go past a dime. Cap.
Yep.
Statewide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can't bring in more than 3.5% more than you did the year before.
I also can't go over a dime.
Yes.
Also, 3.5 up to a dime,
Yes.
and then it quits.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll agree with Virgil and Pete. I think Virgil's right, but we're here. But I think we should go with the 174. And not making a promise, but at the end of the year, look at it. And if the county can help some of these entities get radios because they don't have the money for it, such as the ESDs and all that. We should look into help them. Hey, we might give them 3 this year. I'm not saying we will, but I'm saying we can keep it open as an option. If we have some extra money somewhere. We keep it at 170.
175.
Whatever that is, 175.
175. All right, Virgil, do you have a number that you're comfortable with?
I still think we ought to give the at least all the fire departments the radios. Maybe not all they've requested, but get them started with the radios so they can have communications. Yeah, I think we're leaving the cities out too. I mean, you know, you're right. We need to do something for the cities too.
Well, there we go. If you do that, you're gonna have to charge an annual fee. And they're gonna pay a whole lot more
We
than
don't
that.
have to charge an annual fee. The county can absorb it. Whatever we have to do to
We
pay.
can't absorb 500,000.
Well, we're gonna have to go to the taxpayer to raise the tax rate,
500,000 a year.
you know?
What was?
It was our big plan.
$442,000 if you buy all these radios and don't pay the service contract down with the money we're using by not buying the radio. You're back to $442,000.
No, we're not, because of this numbers right here that we're using to help buy down the radios.
I think we all agree
You're not buying
not like
them radios if you give them to them.
You got the interest income and you've got the changes that we did right here in the contract. That's in the contract and that we're going to be doing ourselves, close to $1 million.
That's correct, and we're paying for that. So if you're gonna if you're gonna go to a user fee, then you're gonna have to collect everything that the user fee is. That's gonna be $442,000. And then we gotta fight the battle of Van says, yes, sir, we'll pay it. Grand Sling says, no, don't think we're gonna pay that. And then you gotta refigure it, and then Van's gonna say, well, wait a minute, Grand Sling turned it down, they're not gonna pay it. How are you gonna make them pay it? You don't have the capability of making them pay it. So
Well,
here we go again, folks, you're fighting this battle.
I think we were all in agreement that we were gonna pay the 174 in the cities, we're gonna pay for the radios. Is it fair? I don't know. Do we like it? Some of us will, some of us won't, but that's what we can do. And I think we're in agreement with that with y'all from us. That's the way we can make it both work together. I mean, I think we had it solved.
But that Virgil was talking.
Well,
He
that's
didn't
one
put
vote,
those.
that's one, I'm one vote.
Yeah.
I'm one vote.
Chad?
Now, I presented to start with,
So you don't have to make decisions, what you're saying, it's up to us?
y'all know where I'm at on it.
All right, well, we don't vote, but I think we have a consensus at 175, 741. Whereas where we buy the, what are we buying with that, Chad?
That would be the county's radios, and outside would be the VFDs that have no taxing.
Okay,
Support, strictly volunteer.
so it's strictly county and volunteer fire departments with no tax revenue. So I believe that is what the commissioners, we haven't voted on it, but that's consensus agreement that I can understand. So I would like to move on to item number 2, unless there's any further discussion about the radios.
Well, we kinda-
Oh, that was number 3 in maintenance. It went right into
Just covered them all.
Yeah. Okay. I thought we had something on towers today, but we don't. So. All right. Is there any further discussion? All right, then I will call this meeting adjourned at 3:15 PM.
Thank y'all,
Thank
everyone.
y'all.
Start searching, you know, radio data.
I apologize, I was thinking Beverly, I wasn't thinking.
Oh, no.
I didn't realize-
He sent me.
That was kind of war, but it's got.
It's all good.
I appreciate you pointing that out. Right.
So there you got that. And you got- See, then we get some other radio systems that have-
But both of one, the one on the side.
Yes, but no, you're good. And then Tim got some stuff too. I just think it's always church. We can think making and just, so not so much decision making, but some better documentation, you know, for the direction out there. And so it's something to consider.
I appreciate it. Look around and see.
All right.